Welcome to From the Gut, an unscripted conversation centered on spiritual health and human values. I'm your host, George Grant, from the Woodruff Health Sciences Center at Emory University. My guest today is David Mafe, who is Vice President, Chief Human Resources Officer at Emory University Hospital Midtown, our stellar flagship campus in the Midtown and downtown area of Atlanta. Welcome, David.
Hi, George. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
it's a real honor.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Great.
And our topic in series one from the Gut is joy at work. And so today I just want to have some good conversation with you about your work life and what's meaningful about it in these days. We're still in the pandemic, and
Yeah, we are.
all of us are still adjusting to life in this way. In fact, this Zoomcast came to be because to get together in person makes it difficult. And so we're doing this program from two different locations, but it's working out. We had some technical difficulties to get in today, but I think you've got some ketchup packages behind your camera holding things up.
It's a very high-tech operation. It's a delicate balance, so we got to be very careful here.
Well, that's fantastic. David, just very briefly, tell us a little bit about your overarching responsibilities.
Sure. So you actually gave me a promotion in the intro, which I really appreciate. So I'm actually not the Chief HR Officer, but I'm the Vice President of Human Resources at the Midtown Hospital. So that encompasses sort of just managing all aspects of human resources, how we get people onboarded, how folks are treated, equity, in the workplace, employee engagement, employee relations, and also how we offboard people at Midtown. In addition to that, there are some other responsibilities. Parking is one of those. Safety is also part of that. And then finally, patient experience. So I'm not responsible for patient experience, but the folks who assist and support the elements that kind of go into the experience and the reporting of experience do report to me. So that kind of in a nutshell is my responsibility.
Well, that's a wide, vast area of responsibility.
Yep.
I'm hearing beginnings, during, and endings
of
a person's
absolutely.
employment, right?
Yep. That's exactly right.
You're caring for thousands of people in your particular entity, and my sense of it is that you wouldn't be on this show unless you were enjoying what you're doing.
Oh, actually, I'm only on this show because I thought I was getting paid. So if that's no, I'm just kidding.
Well,
no,
the Venmo is on your phone.
Oh, okay, good, fantastic. No, yeah, I do enjoy what I'm doing, and I feel really fortunate to be able to do what I'm doing at an organization like Emory Healthcare. Particularly at a time like this in history. So we've got, it's a very unique time with the pandemic and with just the needs that have been generated as a result of that. With our employees, all of the sort of social related issues that are occurring. But no, it's a very special time to be in healthcare, to be charged with the responsibility of caring for our employees. And I get to do it with a great team of people. We've got an outstanding executive team that really supports the idea of supporting people. They recognize that this is why we're here, is to kind of support those folks who take care of our patients. So.
Right. And that, it feels like you were called into this work. I'm just sensing that. And I'm
Huh.
wondering if you could give us a little bit of the background of what led you to this point in your vocation.
Yeah, so that's a wide open question. I love it. If I go too far back, let me know because I think we do
You
have
can
some
never go
defined
too
time.
far back.
You know, okay, all right, very good. So I've always worked on teams. I come from a family. There are 7 kids in my family. I'm number 6 of 7. We always we were a team. I played college sports. I played college basketball.
Hmm.
So sports has been a big part of my life. I have a large family. I've got 5 children. So being part of a community has always been really important. And when I was selecting a vocation, the ability to use influence and to use the supporting elements that come from learning about teams in my work was just, it made a lot of sense to me. And HR has given me an opportunity to really kind of use all of those things. People are really fascinating, and it's not a binary of good or bad. It's just, people are different, um, and they go through different things at different times. And having the willingness to empathize with people and
Mhm.
to recognize that folks actually want to show up and do their best every single day. And most of the time, they actually do that. Has been a real privilege in my career.
Well,
So,
I bet. And recognizing the best in others, it
yes,
really goes a
absolutely.
long way.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
they can take that with them in trying moments. And
Yep.
I'm sure that when you were engaged in sports and playing on teams, you had different personalities, and they had to be
Yep.
uh, regulated in some way in order
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
successful. There had to be
Absolutely.
some kind
Yeah.
of coaching and parameters and
Yep.
fundamentals to make
Yep.
it a successful operation. It seems like you're carrying that
Absolutely.
forward.
Yeah, for sure. The idea of kind of team dynamics when you look at the storming and norming,
Yes,
and coming together as a team is it happens in every team, where whenever there's a common purpose, you're going to go through those phases. How quickly you go through those phases and how effective you're going to be is to be determined. And really, I think is probably a function of how common that purpose is. I think with sports, it's a little easier, it's a little clearer what the goal is. Most of the time, it's to win. Certainly when I was in college, it was to win as many games as we could and play well in the tournament.
right.
For in healthcare, which our former CEO John Fox used to call the ultimate team sport. It's to take care of the people that walk through our doors, and we all have a part of that. No matter kind of what our uniforms look like, what our scrub colors are, or kind of the tools that we use. We're all here for that purpose. And I think the groups and departments that operate the best are the ones who do the best job of kind of tying folks to that kind of common purpose, which I think is really important.
Right. And it seems to me that you have a keen insight over to this reformation that has to take place, adaptation to the
Yeah,
moments, that you can't just
yeah,
stay and be satisfied in one
yep,
space, but it's ever
yep.
changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's ever changing, and the culture or the of teams changes every time you bring somebody new into the group. The group norms sort of change and they morph. So it's really important to kind of make sure that you're recasting that vision and making sure that that stays in front of folks.
Yeah. So, David, when
Um,
you think about yourself and your own abilities and gifts to lead teams after having been a team member and you've watched
mhm.
coaches and listened to coaches and so forth, what are some key components of your ability your personal ability to inspire other people?
You know, for being unscripted, you do this really well, George. You should think about having your own show, taking questions just kind of on the fly. You know, so I think the elements of my coaching is that I think everybody needs to be everyone. Everybody wants to do a good job. You know, everybody's motivated by something, right? It may be intrinsic to the work, and oftentimes it is. But it might be something that's just as noble, but it's not the work. Maybe it's the ability to support a family. Maybe it's the ability to better their situation. But I think great leaders, good coaches, are able to kind of identify what is it that motivates this individual, this team, and then it's kind of harping and using and you know, sort of encouraging that motivation in each of those folks. And I've seen that, kind of getting back to your initial question. I've seen great coaches. I've seen okay coaches, you know, and
Right.
I've seen some coaches that weren't so great, you know. And I think you can learn really from anybody. And you know, in my life, I've been able to learn from folks who haven't done so well, and kind of identifying, yeah, I don't think I would do that. I don't think I would say that way to those folks. So I think there's valuable lessons
Hmm.
whenever you're looking at leadership, sort of across. So
Well, what I'm hearing too, and it dovetails beautifully into human values, right? And what
yeah,
people bring into a calling, into this work in healthcare, and what they seek, you know, and just in terms of
yeah,
work life.
yes,
And, you know, there may be, as you said, a variety of reasons why people take on a certain role. Um,
yeah,
and,
absolutely,
and I like to think that people are motivated not just by paycheck, but there's so many things, elements. One is a major piece for us is compassion, you know, a
yeah,
sense of being able to honor someone
yeah,
in their state of being, you know, whether or
yeah,
not they're ill or it's a coworker who is struggling, or if it's honoring a person who is celebrating, you
yeah.
know, their role. So I'm wondering too about your own work life and those things that you feel maybe are just kind of mundane to some degree. But when you look back on them, they make sense. It's like, oh, okay, I had to do that, but
Right.
I gained something from it. Are there moments like that for you? Can you recall something?
Um, yeah. So you know yeah, there are a number of things that we have to do, right? So I have to go through my email and respond to a number of emails. There's reporting that needs to happen. There are standard meetings that need to take place. There are conversations that need to happen. Um, and sometimes that can be mundane. You know, when you get into a rhythm, especially if it's disconnected from purpose. If you disconnect those things and forget that responding to people via email, which I don't always do. There may be some folks who watch this who are like, "Yeah, he didn't respond to by email," but recognizing that is important, you know, and the way that you do that is also important. So one of the things, just talking about email and trying to kind of find the purpose or tie myself back to the things that are really important, is one thing that I put into my email responses is a thank you. So for every response, the first thing I'll say is thank you for your note. And the reason I do that is not just because I'm a nice guy. It's because it's one of the first parts of the pledge, is, you know, A, that we'll treat people the way we want to be treated, but also that we will be open to the inquiry of others,
Hmm.
and to their spirit of inquiry. And by saying thank you for that no, it honors the inquiry. Whether I fully believe that, whether I'm fully connected to that, it's just one of those things that I do in every one of my email responses that ties me back to our mission. And hopefully the reader is that much more open then to the response that I give.
Right, right.
So yeah, so there can be value in the mundane as well.
Well, and by showing appreciation in that way, a person feels figuratively held. And
Yeah,
you know that
absolutely.
that
Yeah,
that's something that you want human resources to be about. I would imagine that
yeah,
people feel a sense of connection. It's not, uh, you know, that an opposition,
yeah, yeah,
group, but it's for
yeah,
me. And if
yeah,
it's for me, how do I gain a sense of meaningful work? When there's so many things happening all around, particularly in this
yeah,
pandemic, where we've had to change all
yeah,
of our behaviors. I'm sure that that's
yeah,
added an extra layer to
yeah.
helping
It has.
people understand their value.
Yeah. You know, the word that you used earlier was compassion. And I think one of the things that we're learning through this pandemic is that we need greater measures of compassion for people. We have to look for those ways. People have been in this for some time now.
Mhm.
So I think it was middle of March, and here we are going into November. That's a long time. That's 7+ months. That's a long time for folks to be kind of working through this. And it's not just the work that folks do that's become increasingly more difficult. Part of the our care transformation model, George, as you're aware, is that we take care of patients and families. And
Right.
one of the things about this pandemic is that we haven't been able to take care of families because we've not been allowing family members to be on, and that makes us, you know, uh, you know, yeah, it's made things a little less complex, but it also, I think, it's like you're watching a bird fly with one wing.
Right.
So it's not going to be nearly as as effective when we do that, but it's something that we have to do. So in addition to those issues, our employees are coming to work every day. They're taking care of kids at home. They are homeschooling, or at least organizing homeschooling for their kids. They're concerned about their own health and safety, the health and safety of their communities and their families. There's just a lot of stress. So the idea of being more compassionate, taking the time to explain things, recognizing that folks are not always going to show up as their best selves at times. As we go into the holidays, also, that there may be even more dynamics related to that. And just, being compassionate is important.
Well, it most certainly is. And I was just sitting here thinking about what it means to have a leader such as yourself who is looking at all these various roles and departments and achieving a sense of human connectivity, because we're all, masked and behind
Yeah,
shields,
yeah,
and
for sure. Yeah,
and there is not that level of communication available, and
yeah,
just the cutoff from that
yeah,
is depraving.
yeah,
And I'm sure you've thought about that too, with regard to honoring workers in
yeah,
this kind of way.
yeah. It means you have to work harder. So if you'd have made the very same statement, I think 8 months ago, I think it would have stood up. We would have thought about the idea of a mask or shield differently, in that, kind of, we all wear masks to come to work, right? We all put on a face. We're going to put on our kind of our work face. But now that's taken on a very real
Right.
sort of setting, in that now we're wearing these actual face masks, and we've got these actual face shields,
Right.
So it does make it more challenging for us to communicate. But it's not impossible, and it just means that we have to be more intentional about communicating the care
Right.
and concern that we have for each member of our teams.
Well, and when you're deprived of sort of one, even a part of your face, um, other senses, there's a loss there.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
can you say that again, even though it was loud enough?
Just right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
It's
loud
like,
enough, but you can't see the
right.
mouth move. We depend upon,
Sure.
human facial recognition as a part
Sure.
of being together. Well, I was just fascinated by that. But
Yeah.
I would like for us to maybe close by thinking about, those things when you come to work that really juice you, that really, excite you. And
Yeah.
that, it's something that you have a felt sense of pride about.
Hmm. So there are a number of those, to work with leaders at Midtown who are doing really great things is very exciting to me, and it's very juicing. The engagement journey that we're on at this facility is also really juicing. Um, trying to identify different ways for us to programmatically support the engagement of our teams, recognizing that we've got 3,900 team members that call Midtown home. And there's probably about 5,500 or maybe 6,000 folks that come to work here every day that are tied to other operating units. So looking programmatically, but also recognizing that it really starts one-to-one. It really starts, as we're looking and communicating with individuals that sort of engagement. So yeah, I think the things that really juice me, the executive team that I get to work with, and working with our leaders and supporting their success is really juicing.
Well, that's great. And I can tell, just through our conversation that you are dedicated and committed and a very caring
Yeah,
person.
absolutely.
And I'm really
Absolutely. Yeah.
appreciative of you and the time that we've spent together today. And
Awesome. I've enjoyed
I
it. Yeah.
wish you continued success in
Thank you.
your developing, some of these attributes that you've learned throughout your life that continue to gift you and gift others as a point of inspiration. So, David, thank you so much, and all well to you. And I look forward to seeing you in person
Awesome.
again one day.
I look forward to it too, George. Yeah, thank you for this time. I'm not sure if I pay you now or if I'll be getting
We're
paid.
cool.
We can work that out.
We're all square.
Okay.
We're all square. Thank you so much.
That's great. Really enjoyed it. You bet.
Mhm.
All the best. Bye-bye.